Have you ever wondered why the nicest guy who treats you like a queen gets friend-zoned while the guy who barely texts back has women completely obsessed? I'm about to reveal the psychological mechanisms behind why women become addicted to men who act like they're nothing. And trust me, this isn't what you think it's about. What I'm sharing today will completely flip your understanding of attraction. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why your brain gets hijacked by unavailable men and what you can do to break free from this pattern forever. Let me start with a story that might sound familiar. Sarah was a successful marketing executive who had everything together. She'd been on dates with doctors, lawyers, entrepreneurs, all amazing men who would have treated her incredibly well. But there was Jake, a bartender who took 3 days to respond to texts, canceled plans last minute, and never seemed that interested. Guess which one she couldn't stop thinking about? This isn't about Sarah being broken or having daddy issues. This is about how your brain is literally wired to respond to certain patterns, and once you understand the science, everything starts making sense. The first mechanism at play here is called intermittent reinforcement, and it's the same principle that makes slot machines so addictive. When someone is consistently nice to you, your brain gets used to that dopamine hit and it becomes predictable. But when someone is unpredictable, sometimes warm and sometimes cold, your brain goes into overdrive trying to figure out the pattern. Think about it this way. If someone always responds to your texts immediately, you take it for granted. But when someone sometimes responds in 5 minutes and sometimes takes 2 days, every single notification becomes a potential rush. Your brain starts associating that person with uncertainty, and uncertainty triggers our reward system more powerfully than guaranteed rewards ever could. This is why women often report feeling more chemistry with men who seem disinterested. It's not that they enjoy being treated poorly, it's that their brains are literally getting more stimulation from the unpredictable behavior pattern. The second psychological trigger is something called the scarcity principle. Humans are hardwired to want what seems rare or difficult to obtain. When a man acts like he's not that interested, he automatically becomes more valuable in your subconscious mind. This isn't logical, it's biological. Our ancestors had to compete for limited resources, and those who pursued the hardest to get resources often ended up with the highest quality outcomes. Your brain hasn't evolved past this survival mechanism, so it still interprets difficulty as value. The man who seems like he has options, who doesn't need you, triggers this ancient programming that tells you he must be worth pursuing. Meanwhile, the man who makes his interest obvious, who's always available, who treats you amazingly well, gets categorized by your subconscious as low value precisely because he's being so available. It's completely backwards from a logical standpoint, but your emotional brain isn't operating on logic. Here's where it gets really interesting. There's a concept in psychology called trauma bonding, but it applies even in situations that aren't severely traumatic. When you experience stress and relief in cycles with the same person, it creates an incredibly strong emotional attachment. With the unavailable guy, you experience stress when he doesn't respond, anxiety when plans are uncertain, and then massive relief when he does show up or give you attention. This cycle of stress and relief creates neurochemical bonds that are actually stronger than consistent positive experiences. It's the same reason why people often feel more connected to others after going through challenges together. The consistently nice guy doesn't create these stress and relief cycles, so even though he's objectively treating you better, he's not creating the same intensity of neurochemical bonding. Your brain interprets intensity as connection, even when that intensity comes from negative emotions. Now let's talk about something called projection and fantasy filling. When someone is emotionally unavailable or unclear about their feelings, your mind automatically starts filling in the blanks. You begin projecting qualities onto them that they may not actually possess. You imagine deep conversations you might have, picture them being different in private, create entire narratives about who they could become. This fantasy version becomes incredibly powerful because it's literally customized by your own mind to be exactly what you want. You fall in love with the potential you've created in your head, not the person who's actually showing up. The less someone gives you, the more your imagination has to work with, and your imagination always creates the perfect scenario. The available, interested guy doesn't leave room for this fantasy creation because he's clearly showing you who he is. There's no mystery to solve, no potential to unlock, no project to work on. Paradoxically, this clarity makes him seem less exciting, even though it should make him more attractive. There's also a self-worth component that's crucial to understand. Deep down, many women have internalized messages about not being worthy of genuine love and respect. When someone treats them well consistently, it can actually trigger discomfort because it conflicts with their internal beliefs about what they deserve. The guy who acts disinterested feels safer because his behavior aligns with that internal voice saying, "You're not worthy of real love." It doesn't challenge your self-concept, so your nervous system doesn't have to deal with the anxiety that comes from cognitive dissonance. Accepting genuine love requires believing you're worthy of it, and that's actually more challenging than pursuing someone who confirms your fears. But here's what's really happening beneath all of these psychological mechanisms. You're not actually addicted to men who treat you poorly. You're addicted to the feeling of trying to earn love that feels just out of reach. You're addicted to the challenge, the mystery, the dopamine hits from intermittent validation. Understanding this is the first step to breaking the pattern. But knowledge alone isn't enough. You need to start rewiring your nervous system to find consistency attractive instead of boring. This means consciously appreciating when someone is reliable, celebrating when plans are confirmed rather than uncertain, and training yourself to see availability as a green flag rather than a red one. Start paying attention to how different types of interactions make you feel in your body. Notice the anxiety that comes with uncertainty and the peace that comes with clarity. Begin to associate that peaceful feeling with safety and genuine connection rather than dismissing it as boring. You also need to work on your relationship with yourself. The more you genuinely believe you deserve consistent love and respect, the less attractive, inconsistent behavior becomes. This isn't just positive thinking. It's about taking actions that demonstrate self-respect and building evidence that you're worthy of good treatment. The next time you find yourself drawn to someone who's giving you mixed signals, pause and ask yourself what you're really hoping to get from this interaction. Are you hoping to prove your worth by winning them over? Are you trying to fix something you couldn't fix in the past? Are you avoiding the vulnerability that comes with mutual interest? Most importantly, start noticing and appreciating the people who show up consistently in your life. Train your attention to focus on green flags, rather than always being drawn to red ones. This takes practice because you're literally rewiring neural pathways that have been reinforced for years. Remember, there's nothing wrong with you for having these patterns. Your brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do, based on evolutionary programming and learned experiences. But now that you understand the mechanisms, you have the power to make different choices and create healthier patterns moving forward. The goal isn't to settle for someone boring. It's to find someone who's genuinely interesting and treats you well consistently. These men exist, but you'll only be available for them when you stop being addicted to the chaos of unavailable ones.